Hi everyone, it's Christina. Last video of the class. Hard to believe. I'm having a bit of allergies, so I may have to blow my nose every once in a while. Um, I wanted to talk about my final take on Midnight's Children. I really did enjoy this book, this writing style, and I liked how Rashid kind of make himself Salim Sinai, where he was not just the character, he was also the writer, inserting his own words into sort of, as Melissa put it in her video, an autobiography. Um, and there's one quote in particular I want to point out when it comes to that writing. It's that when it came to the magicians that he lived with for a while, they were people whose whole reality was absolute. They gripped it so powerfully they could bend it in every which way, in the service of their arts, but never forgot what it was. Celine followed this, in a sense, where his writing style showed the realities of India, gave the history, gave the politics, at the same time gave his story, what was happening in his life. While my son is being born, this happens and this happens. And he kind of does that when he's born. He kind of writes about what happens as he is born, what happens during his childhood, and he never forgets about the movements in India. He never forgets about the history of India because, in a sense, for him, India is connected to his life. And he shows this connection as he writes the story. But then he intertwines his own 2 cents into the story, where he talks about different things. And he also puts his own personal touch, where he argues with himself about the facts because he's not sure how accurate everything is. He keeps admitting that date might be wrong. I did elaborate on that. That's a lie. You know, and even though there's this sense of truth, you can't help but think, well, maybe this is how his reality was. This is how he remembers it. Maybe it was magical. Maybe for him, this is what really happened. This is how it seemed to happen. And our mind can play tricks on us and make things seem like they magically happened, and where our own perception, um, excuse me, I apologize about that. Like I said, I have allergies. Ooh, okay, make this quick. Where he decides to, argue with himself in the book, where he starts the chapter of Midnight, no, but I must, in upward caps. That's the very first thing he says. I don't want to tell it, but I swore to tell it all. No, I renounce. Not surely. Not that surely some things are better left, but that won't wash. That can't be cured. Must be endured. He throughout this whole page almost, he argues with himself where he says, "Stop this. Begin. No. Yes." That's the abridged version. That's on page, sorry, 485, the first page of Midnight, where he, starts to argue with himself about, I don't want to talk about this, but I said I would. And this is the event that we've all been wondering about, where we learn he gets an involuntary mastectomy, which is, ugh, to have that done to you without permission, just because you're a midnight child. I talk about an experience, and you wonder how accurate it is, but at the same time you can't help but feel for him, where you're going, whoa, that's pretty harsh. So, for Salim, I think by putting his own self into the book, by putting his own commentary into the book, he is telling a story that is his own reality, in a sense that, like the magicians, he bends it, but he is well aware of what it is. But how much is it bent? That's the question. It seems like it's a blurred line, and I have to admit that even despite that blurred line of magic versus real. It was a very interesting story, and I had to admit that even though it took me a while to read this book, I did enjoy it. So that's my final take on Midnight Children, and thanks for wonderful class, guys.